Good morning. Ethiopia is currently holding a public media hostage. The government basically want the media to report what they want the media to report. Report what we want you to report, or don't report anything at all. That's what the government is telling the media. And the Western media, in specifically, as you see there, this statement released by Ethiopian government on August 11, 2021. It highlighted that the Western media unfair and orchestrated international media attack on Ethiopia. This is unbelievable. Ethiopian government is basically declaring a war on media, Western media. I remember they already arrested the media companies, the media individuals inside the country, inside Ethiopia. Everybody is either in jail. I'm talking about journalists. If you are a journalist in Ethiopia, either you are working for the government or you're in jail. Let me show you. The media, he also arresting everybody, political opponent. If you Google, for example, just Ethiopia, and you're gonna see huge amount of journalists, local bloggers arrested. This is people working inside Ethiopia, working as bloggers, journalists, small local media. Only media or organization that is pushing information into the internet from Ethiopia right now are either government media or media that's paid by the government, controlled by the government. Every information before it goes out have to be run by the government officials to get okay from the government official. If they don't do this, the people are not just looking violation, some sort of a small tickets. They're looking for a huge amount of time in prison or in jail, and a lot of people, like so for example, the person who reported this on where Ethiopia government is using Ethiopia airline to transport the military to the war zones, to Tigray area. There are some videos, and then also videos and pictures that shows the Ethiopia airline soldiers boarding, getting on and getting off the airplanes. And this video, the people who took this video, they are they're facing huge amount of time in prison. Even if they survive, most of the time they don't even do prison time. They automatically kill them. And you can see those are soldiers inside the airplane. Ethiopian airline transporting, you see this? Ethiopian airline has been transporting weapons from China, Libya to Ethiopia. Is also transporting weapons and troops from Eritrea, Asmara to Ethiopia. At this is again is international aviation convention that prohibits civil airlines to carry military equipment and involved in a war. This is clearly, you can see, but they deny everything. If you go to the Twitter account of the government officials, they clearly deny this. And then, so this is the media that they highlight, and I hope that the Ethiopian government country right now is not safe for media person. especially for Western media. The government on Facebooks, on Twitter, have information pushed out to the public that basically says that Western media are the enemy of the people. And this is very it make it look like the Western media is a attack, is an enemy of the people. And if you are have a large amount of followers in the government, you are the government forces, and you're doing this, and a lot of regular citizens, they're going to take this the sign that it's okay that if you go and kill a journalist, kidnap journalists, or do a harm to the journalists, that you're not going to be held accountable. Not only that, see what they listed here. The Ethiopian government themselves on this screen. I don't know if you can see it. They listed specific media, Western media as they call it, that they basically targeting. Bloomberg is number one, Al Jazeera second, The Guardians, Financial Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, Reuters, Agence France Press, BBC. They don't like the fact that those organizations reporting facts on the ground. They don't want these organizations or media organizations to report mass killing on the ground, even if it's on video. Remember, we just see the airline, the people in the airline. There's a video of the military convoy loading onto the airline, Ethiopian airline, to be transported, and then getting off the airlines. Those are facts. And also there are videos of Ethiopian government killing people. I'm talking about mass amount of people, like large numbers, lining them up, just killing them, Ethiopian soldiers in a different regions, and then throwing them off the cliff. I think everybody already saw this, and if you Google it, it's all over the news. And they don't like this information be reported. They don't want anything embarrassing to be reported. They want to be in the front of Western media, the Western countries. They want to show themselves as civilized, democrat countries. But the thing is, these people are not. The truth is far from what Ethiopian government like the Western society to believe. Ethiopian government are very similar to North Korea, to Iran. Savage, that will kill people and hide them. As long as whatever you're doing is not recorded on video and showing on to Western media, to them it's okay. The reason why they don't like Western media, horrible things they do appear on Western media, is that they benefit greatly from Western investment, from Western money that World Food Organizations, or the help that they received in hundreds of millions of dollars every year from the Western society, not only the US but United Nations, and every major Western countries budget small amount of money, not really small, but in their budget is small. In the United States, for example, they contribute over $600 million a year to Ethiopia. And other European countries, Australia being one, United Kingdom, they all contribute hundreds of millions of dollars a year to Ethiopian government. So this is the reason why they want to try to appear and convince these people that everybody who is complaining of suffering of mass genocide in the country is completely bogus. The video is fake. And every elections, the way these people manage to stay in power is because they arrest every everybody, every dissenting voices inside the country, kill every dissenting voices inside the country. And also the political parties, for example. Every political party, every major political party has been arrested in Ethiopia. When it comes to elections, this guy will arrest everybody. Ethiopian government, this is how they've been doing. They have a couple of different political parties when it comes to elections. But what they do is they will arrest everybody who is not, I'm talking about the political party candidates. They will arrest them, and then so the people have no other options to either vote for the government parties or not vote at all. And if there's a demonstration, they will just kill everybody who comes to the demonstrations, wipe them out with AK-47s, with bombs, and then round them up, whoever left over, and just throw them in prison for life, for treasons, for trying to overthrow a government. That's what they call it anyway. So this is really a huge problem in Ethiopia. Now they are calling the Western media the enemy of the people. And the Twitter account of these people, they don't like information to get out, and every media information that comes out is the Ethiopian government basically call it a fabricated attack on Ethiopian government. The TPLF, they call in the TPLF Tigray Defense Forces a terrorist organizations. Everybody how could you call somebody who has been elected by their region, million of people, and then you come to remove? Imagine if you are just take for example United States. You come to California or you come to Texas. The Texas were elected a governor or a state representative or the governor of the Texas that represent the whole state of Texas is elected by those people. You cannot come out and remove the governor of Texas because the federal government don't like the guy, and then call him a terrorist. When the state of Texas take up arms and willing to fight for their rights to elect the people, the type of political parties that they wanted to, the type of agenda they want, how they want to live their life, the type of democracy, liberty and justice, the rights and development of the nation that they want to live under. And you're not able to go in there and rob these people, loot their goods, and take their properties. Because you cannot do this, you call the whole entire political parties terrorist organizations and declare war on Texas. And then any information that comes out of there that doesn't go with what you want, you consider it a misinformation or attack on your country, which this is exactly what's happening. The people of Tigray elected the Tigray Liberation Front, the Tigray Defense Forces, the political party were elected. Ethiopian government now is because they're not able to collect taxes from these people, and they're not able to go and loot what they have. They cannot rob them, and they are calling. And then not only that, this is all over Ethiopia, every region, like Amhara region, which is over 15-20 million people. They call those areas, the leaders of those areas, terrorists before. And then the Oromo region, which is about 40 million people, they also call them a terrorist organizations because they're not the people there elected the representative and those representatives represent the interest of the people, and the government are not able to do what they want. The Ethiopian government, I mean, they're not able to rob these people, and they go in. Basically, what they do is they come to the area and they go and sell the land to the foreign companies. For example, let's say Amazon come down there and they want to buy the entire 500 million square feet of a land, and the government will just give them a lease for 100 years and move everybody who lives in that area. And this is huge problem. So the government, the local elected representative fight for the interests of the people, decide that the people have rights to these lands, to these their properties, and they're not they cannot be robbed. An Ethiopian government willing to go to war against their own regions, declare war, call everybody a terrorist. Now that's what they're doing to the Western media. They point out the Western media and call everybody who are not willing to go with their agenda a terrorist. And I would highly advise the Western media to be conscious of going to these regions. See how this the Prime Minister office is calling TPLF is torture people, displaced, blah blah. But this is what they're doing. Imagine the TPLF, the Tigray representative, didn't torture people, did not kill people. This is just an accusation. And it's like somebody, this is what the Ethiopian government has been doing. They go into the Tigray region and trying to wipe out the entire population of Tigray. Or they're calling up on the entire population of Ethiopia to join them in fight to wipe out the Tigray regions, the Tigray 7 million people. And they also block the roads, shut down the electricity, no electricity, no cell phone services, no banks. They basically close all the banks and take the money out without permission of the whole population. A million of people lose their money in the bank because they cannot allow to withdraw anything from their banks. Now people are suffering. They are not allowed to do any kind of cultivating farms because the government destroy all the fertilizations, equipment, and also if you try to do the farming, it's an offense. That is killable offense. The government will kill you. This is what's going on. The government basically, when they were in control of the Tigray, like 2-3 months ago, before they were kicked out by Tigray Defense Force, they burned down every resources in this region, fertilizations, any kind of things that people used to plant, farming, to try to take in. It's a farming season too, but the government destroy everything, destroy the region, farming equipment, make it impossible. Now they also disconnect or not allowing. They burn down all the roads, the big roads, and that will cross into the region for the humanitarian assistance to enter the Tigray area. The Tigray is basically disconnected and is in the cage right now. The vehicles, humanitarian assistance trucks, 200-300 trucks were blocked off and being robbed. It's blocked off between Amphar and Amhara region, and they basically steal the trucks and hold the truck drivers and people that work for the UN as a ransom. They sell the truck and whatever equipment in the truck. This is what's being going on, and the people on Facebook is giving Facebook. They have this information on Facebook's videos on Facebook's, and they are basically giving each other high five for doing this. And it's definitely atrocities that are continuing to get worse. We advise the Western media to be mindful of this, and should definitely impose a sanction more. UN should either send a convoy, military convoy, to this region to escort the humanitarian trucks to the Tigray regions, to all the affected areas, because the government is basically intentionally blocking the trucks by burning down the road, blowing up the road, blowing up bridges, so there's no road anymore. And the local area, the local people trying to build another road to try to get the truck through it, and this is every day it's being destroyed. This is the information that we get from the field. And so this is really very important that the United Nations and the people who are trying to fix this actually go after the government and don't be blind by their propaganda. And that the TPLF are not a terrorist organizations. The Oromo Liberation Front are not terrorist organizations. And these people represent millions, hundreds of millions of people. And just because you don't like, they're gonna call everybody, the Prime Minister, the Ethiopia government, and their secretary. She's basically calling everybody that they don't like a terrorist organization. And just because you are willing to scare your city councils, because what they're doing is that Ethiopia Prime Ministers, he will call the city councils or the representative into the meeting and force them to vote on an issue. If they don't vote how they want it, how the government want it, they are either be target of the government too. They will be called traitors or the enemy of the government. So these people, they voted because they have no choice. They voted to designate the TPLF terrorist organization. They voted under the threat of being jailed or being killed. Oromo Liberation Front terrorist designated them to be terrorist organization. This is so much propaganda going on in Ethiopia right now, and it is important that the Western media understand that when you hear about election in Ethiopia, it's not really election. This is a joke. It's a fake elections. The elections were controlled by the police. The police make sure that people vote for the government political parties, and everybody, all the candidates, all the political parties, political candidate of the opposition is already they're in jail. They get locked up. How do you run a fair elections when you're in jail? Not only they're in jail, also the people were coming to vote for them at the risk of their life. If they don't vote for the government, they risk losing everything that they own, risk their life of their children. And not only that, most of the time they be arrested when they come and vote for different candidate. And the only places that are not controlled where only election where people come to vote. The place that were not controlled where a designated UN representative were sent to observe the elections. Those areas were not controlled for the purpose of avoiding the appearance of corruptions to the Western media or to the Western society. Every other area is controlled.